Thank you, Senator Johnson. Senator Luján.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Appreciate you calling this important hearing, and also Ranking Member Graham. When I talk to my constituents, many are struggling to keep a roof over their head, food on the table, and their businesses open. As President Biden has said, America is facing a national emergency that requires an aggressive response from Congress. The American Rescue Plan that I voted for puts Americans on the right path to recover. Under the American Rescue Plan, families in New Mexico with 2 married adults and 2 children receive $5,600. It's a one-time payment in helping New Mexico families who struggle to get a car to safely look for work, to pay for rent, or even to get food on the table for their children. However, as you know, some of my Republican colleagues have suggested that we can't afford to provide meaningful assistance to struggling families. Ms. McGinnis, in my short time that I have, and if there's anything you want to submit to the record, I'd invite you to do so, but I'm looking for some numbers here. I have a few questions for you. Do you know how much the Republican tax bill of 2017 provides in tax cuts to a person making $200,000 this year in 2021?
Okay, I'm going to make sure we submit all the proper answer, but I think it would be roughly $5,000 this year.
So the number that I have is on average $6,500. So I'd be happy to chat with you about that, and we'll look into that.
If you include the corporate tax incidents as well, I think.
Appreciate that.
That makes sense.
Ms. McGinnis, do you know how much these tax cuts help those making $1 million? How much will they receive from the Republican tax bill?
And if you're counting that corporate part as well, probably in the neighborhood of $50,000.
That's what I have, about $51,000. Is that a one-time payment or is it annual?
That would be every year. In the past years, every year, and going forward until these tax cuts expire.
So every year, someone making $1 million gets about $51,000 from that tax cut in 2017. Okay.
But just also for the record, if we did SALT, a lot of them would be getting another $40,000 tax cut as well.
Okay, Mr. Zuckman, what is the average tax rate for the median taxpayer in the United States?
It's about 28% today.
And Mr. Zuckman, which income group has the lowest tax rate in the United States?
According to our estimates, it's billionaires, the top 400 richest Americans, who have the lowest effective tax rate today in the US.
So the top 400 richest people in America have a tax rate of 24%, and the average tax rate for the median taxpayer, that's middle income families, is 28%. It's 4% higher?
Correct.
Is that current tax system progressive or regressive?
It's a tax system that is not progressive, that's mildly progressive up to the very, very rich, and then becomes deeply regressive at the very top end.
Can you just help middle income families back in New Mexico understand this a little bit more?
Yes, absolutely, Senator. So what's really important to understand is that all Americans pay a lot in taxes, including working class Americans. They pay payroll taxes, they pay sales taxes. Very wealthy Americans pay the income tax, but for billionaires, the income tax is only a very small fraction of their true economic income. Or to put it differently, it's just very small compared to the profits of the companies they own and compared to their wealth. And that's why, at the end of the day, you end up in a situation where billionaires as a group have a lower effective tax rate than the middle class.
I appreciate that response. Mr. Chairman, what it seems to me is that the richest amongst us, and I congratulate them for their wealth, they've done well for themselves. But when the richest amongst us in America pay the lowest rates, the richest amongst us have over $50,000 more every year from the 2017 tax bill. The Republicans' tax plan cost Americans $1.8 trillion and largely benefited the largest corporations and the wealthiest 1% of Americans. However, our colleagues from the other side of the aisle now insist that the United States cannot afford to provide a meaningful relief to these middle-class families, including in New Mexico. It just seems wrong to me. 24, 28, those numbers just don't add up. And I'm hopeful that we can all work together to provide relief to families back home that I represent. Thank you, and I yield back.